Cerberus, the guardian of Hades. Souls that crossed the Acheron River in Charon's boat knew their journey ended when they heard the deafening bark of 3 throats. Cerberus was a monstrous dog with 3 heads, a serpent's tail, and a mane of vipers that guarded the gates of Hades. This beast from Greek mythology measured the size of a bull, with eyes that glowed red in darkness and fangs that dripped black venom. Its job was simple but absolute. Allow the dead to enter the underworld, but prevent anyone from leaving, and keep away the living who attempted to enter without permission. The name Cerberus comes from the Greek Kerberos, which according to some scholars means demon of the pit or flesh devourer, though others relate it to the Sanskrit word sarvara, meaning spotted. Hesiod, in his Theogony written around 700 BC, mentions Cerberus for the first time, describing it as son of Typhon and Echidna. Homer's Iliad calls it the bronze-barking dog of Hades, while various Roman texts, like Virgil's Aeneid and Ovid's works, also document its characteristics. According to Hesiod, Cerberus was born in a frozen cave near the dwelling of Nyx, the primordial night. Its mother Echidna was a nymph with a beautiful face but serpent's body from the waist down, while its father Typhon was the 100-headed giant who nearly defeated Zeus. This monstrous union produced several terrible children: the Nemean lion, the chimera, the Lernaean hydra, Orpheus, the 2-headed dog, and Cerberus. This genealogy explained why the guardian of Hades possessed characteristics of multiple creatures mixed into a single beast. Cerberus had the body of a massive dog the size of a bull, or larger, according to descriptions. Hesiod claimed it had 50 heads, but the most common tradition established by other authors attributed 3 heads to it, each with its own muscular neck. These heads could move independently, allowing Cerberus to watch in all directions simultaneously. Each head had jaws filled with fangs sharp as daggers, from which constantly dripped deadly black venom. The venom hissed when it struck the stone floor of Hades, leaving smoking pits in the rock and filling the air with an acrid stench that warned approaching souls of what awaited them. The beast's breath itself was said to be poisonous, and those who inhaled it too deeply felt their limbs grow heavy and their thoughts cloud with deathly fog. Its fur was black as the underworld's night, and from its back sprouted living serpents that constantly writhed, forming a mobile mane. Its tail was not that of a normal dog, but a giant serpent with its own head that could attack independently. According to Euripides, Cerberus not only had 3 heads, but also 3 separate united bodies, while Virgil mentioned it had multiple backs. Its claws were like a lion's, according to some sources, capable of tearing flesh and bones with ease. Cerberus's eyes glowed with supernatural red light that terrified those who looked at them. Hesiod mentions these eyes flashed fire, and its gaze was so horrible that anyone who faced it was petrified with terror. Horace describes it had 3 tongues that hung from its mouths, constantly drooling. And Seneca adds it possessed extraordinarily acute hearing that detected the faintest whisper of souls attempting to escape. Cerberus inhabited the gates of Hades, the Greek underworld where all souls went after death. It was stationed specifically on the shores of the Acheron River, or near the waters of Cocytus, according to different sources. In front of the mansions of Hades and Persephone, reclining in a cave, it guarded the main entrance. In 2012, what was believed to be the plutonium was discovered in Turkey, the physical entrance to the underworld mentioned by the geographer Strabo in the 1st century AD. where a metal statue of Cerberus still guarded access to a cave with volcanic waters. Cerberus's diet consisted mainly of human flesh. It devoured any living person who tried to enter Hades without permission, and also attacked dead souls that attempted to escape. Its appetite was voracious and its hunger constant. The texts describe that when it caught victims, it tore them apart with its 3 mouths simultaneously, also using the serpents of its tail to strangle while its lion claws shredded. The sound of bones crunching between its multiple jaws echoed through the caverns of the underworld, serving as grim reminder to any soul contemplating escape. Scraps of flesh and shattered bones littered the ground around its post, creating a macabre garden of failed attempts at freedom. Cerberus's behavior was fierce and territorial. The texts describe it as terrible and merciless, showing no mercy to anyone. When dead souls arrived at Hades, Cerberus received them with deafening barks that resonated throughout the underworld. It let the dead pass without problem, even received them with certain friendliness according to some versions. But its attitude changed completely when someone tried to leave or when a living person approached. Its 3-throated bark was so powerful it caused instant terror. When it detected intruders, it launched into attack with extreme violence, using its 3 heads to bite from multiple angles, while its serpent tail attacked from behind. The vipers of its mane also bit, injecting additional venom. This combination of attacks made it virtually impossible to defend against. In the context of Greek beasts, Cerberus occupied a unique position as permanent guardian of the underworld, comparable only with creatures like the Erinyes or Moirae, who also had fixed cosmic roles. Unlike monsters like the Chimera or Hydra that could be hunted and killed, Cerberus was a permanent element of Hades, impossible to eliminate because its function was necessary for cosmic order. Cerberus's powers included its superhuman strength that rivaled that of legendary heroes. Its venom was instantly deadly, and when its saliva fell to the ground, it made the aconite plant grow, poisonous to humans and animals. Its senses were divided among its 3 heads according to some interpretations. One heard perfectly, another detected tracks and scents, and the third perceived any sound. This sensory division made it virtually impossible to deceive. Its physical presence caused paralyzing terror. Just seeing it caused souls to flee in panic, and the living who faced it were petrified with fear. Its bark had supernatural properties that disoriented and terrified beyond simple noise. It was chained to the gates of Acheron, but its chains were long enough to reach any intruder who approached. Cerberus's vulnerabilities were few but exploitable. It had 2 main weaknesses: music and honey. Music calmed it and could put it to sleep, as Orpheus discovered when he played his lyre, and the monster fell into deep sleep. Honey cakes, smeared with adulterated wine, also made it drowsy, a technique used by the nymph Psyche and the prophetess Sibyl to pass beside it. Cerberus's most famous encounter was with Heracles during his 12th labor. King Eurystheus, instigated by Hera, ordered Heracles to capture Cerberus and bring it to the world of the living. Heracles first traveled to Eleusis to be initiated into the Eleusinian mysteries, thus learning how to enter and leave Hades alive. Then he found the entrance to the underworld at Tenarum, accompanied by Hermes and Athena. Charon carried Heracles across the Acheron due to Hermes' insistence and the hero's intimidating appearance. Upon arriving before Hades and Persephone, Heracles demanded permission to take Cerberus. Hades responded he could do so only if he managed to subdue it without using weapons. This condition made the labor extremely difficult because Cerberus was virtually invincible in direct combat. Heracles found Cerberus chained to the gates of Acheron. Protected by his Nemean lion skin that made him resistant to bites and venom, he approached the monster Cerberus, raised its 3 heads and serpent tail in warning, then attacked with all its fury. Heracles grabbed it by the throats and applied constant pressure, strangling all 3 heads simultaneously. The muscles in his arms bulged and trembled with the effort, veins standing out like cords beneath his skin as the beast thrashed and writhed in his grip. The serpents of its mane struck at his face repeatedly, their fangs scraping harmlessly against the impenetrable lion hide. The combat lasted hours, according to some versions, with Cerberus fighting desperately using all its natural weapons. Finally, the monster weakened from lack of air and yielded. During the fight, Cerberus's saliva fell to the ground and made the poisonous aconite plant grow. Heracles chained Cerberus and took it to Mycenae before King Eurystheus, who was so terrified upon seeing it that he hid in a bronze jar. After completing the labor, Heracles returned Cerberus to Hades, where it resumed its post as guardian. Other heroes also had encounters with Cerberus. Orpheus put it to sleep with the music of his lyre when he descended to Hades, seeking his wife Eurydice. The prophetess Sibyl used honeycakes to make it drowsy when she guided Aeneas to the Underworld. The nymph Psyche also used honey to pass beside it when she needed to collect Persephone's beauty box. For the ancient Greeks, Cerberus represented the absolute frontier between life and death. Its presence symbolized that death was irrevocable. Once its gates were crossed, there was no return. The 3 heads represented, according to different interpretations, the past, present, and future, or birth, youth, and old age, showing that all stages of life ended in the same destiny under its watch. In Greek art, Cerberus frequently appeared on ceramics and reliefs showing its encounter with Heracles. The Perseus vase in the Louvre Museum shows it being held on a red leash by the hero Pausanias. In his description of Greece, mentions statues in Laconia and Olympia that represented Cerberus's capture as one of Heracles' most important labors. Thus, Cerberus remains as the eternal guardian of the threshold between life and death in Greek mythology, a beast whose function was to maintain cosmic order by irreversibly separating both worlds. Its legacy continues in the term goalkeeper used for football goalkeepers, remembering that some guardians never abandon their post. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the most fearsome beasts of Greek mythology. This video is part of our series on the mythological bestiary, where we explore fascinating creatures from different ancient cultures. Stay tuned because many more episodes are coming where we'll uncover the secrets of other legendary beasts that have terrorized human imagination for millennia